Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.
Auburn AD Jay Jacobs. And, Jay, it's good to have you on the show. We appreciate the time. I know it's been a crazy week and a busy week for you, so thank you.
Oh, hey, Carl, it's my pleasure. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, I'm just going to put it out there, Jay. Make your case, if Auburn wins on Saturday, why they should be in the national championship game.
Okay. Well, I think that whichever team wins on Saturday, us or Missouri, should be in the championship game. When you look at the strength of schedule of the top 10 teams in the nation, Auburn is the highest ranked in strength of schedule, and Missouri is higher than the four in front of them, except with the exception of Auburn. With the history of the BCS, and that's not saying, because the SEC's won the last 7 years, that's not saying that we're owed anything. It just shows the strength of this league. We beaten two top 10 teams. We took down the number one team in the nation that, by all accounts, nobody else could do. And we believe that in Auburn's case, we're America's team. And people want to see how this fairy tale is going to end. It's been unbelievable. It's a team of destiny. And I believe those reasons and others, guys, are why a one-loss SEC team should play for the national championship. If you win in Atlanta, you belong in Pasadena.
Carl Dukes, Kordell Stewart, Jay Jacobs, Auburn AD, our guest here on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. Jay, you said after the game on Saturday, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said it would be impossible to leave out a one-loss SEC champion, especially if they had knocked off number one Alabama, as Auburn did. Do you think there's backlash against the SEC?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think there's any backlash against the SEC. I just think it's the history of our league, the strength of our league, and the strength of scheduling. I think the facts tell the story. As we move forward with the four-team playoff, a couple of the factors are going to be strength of schedule, and there's going to be a semi-playoff with 1 versus 4. Well, that happened Saturday night here in Auburn, and 4 took down 1, and I just believe that's the way it is, and it's not a bias or anything like that. It's just historical, and the facts speak for themselves. And like I said, guys, whichever team, we've got a real tall task ahead of us for a chance to even beat Missouri on Saturday. But they're number 5. But if they knock off number 3, and their strength of schedule is better than the other the top 1 and 2 teams, I believe they'd belong in Pasadena.
Jay, when you mentioned strength of schedule and the SEC being so strong, here's a Big 12 team, basically, when you think of Missouri. Come into the SEC, and basically them as well as Texas A&M has created some form of havoc, so to speak, has kind of shaken up the SEC just a little bit to the point where it's just not the same team from the past. With that being said, does that mean that Ohio State shouldn't go to the national championship if they win the Big Ten, considering that a Big 12 team came into the SEC and basically is playing the SEC championship game? Does that mean Ohio State is weak because they're undefeated and basically Missouri is showing that the SEC is not really as strong as we're claiming it to be?
No, I wouldn't draw those conclusions, Kordell. I would just say that, based on strength of schedule, just the facts, based on strength of schedule and who is beating who, which is going to be taken into consideration next year when we move to that 4-team playoff, apply those now. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying that we deserve anything over anybody else. I'm just saying look at the numbers, look at the facts, and I think they speak for themselves.
Gotcha.
Jay, I agree with you, by the way. Jeff Sagarin, who does, is involved with his formula and creates the toughest schedule around the country and says these teams have played the toughest schedule. According to Jeff Sagarin, all right, Auburn's played the 26th toughest schedule in the country. Everyone else that's playing this weekend, Ohio State, Florida State, Missouri, they're all behind them. Missouri's 41st, Ohio State 61st, Florida State 66th. And then you talked about strength of schedule. Auburn's 16th in the country. So, Jay, I agree with you when you say, wait a minute, if we win this game, we should be playing in the national championship game. But let me ask you about your head football coach, who I think is the coach of the year. How did you know you had the right guy moving away from Gene Chizik and hiring Gus Malzahn?
Well, the luxury that I had was I'd worked with Gus before, He was here in 2009, 10, and 11, and was a big part of our national championship in 2010. And so the fit, you guys know it's very important, particularly at this BCS level. And so the other thing is that he is just he always has been. He's a fierce competitor. And he's a brilliant football mind, and he's a relentless worker. And the thing that gets lost in this oftentimes about talking about Gus is he cares about his players, and he's always asking his players for input. So, and he had recruited a lot of these guys that we have on the team now. So there was some familiarity and some trust already built in. And Kordell, you know as well as anyone, you got to play for somebody that you trust and you believe in. Mm-hmm. And when Gus came in and interviewed with myself and Bo Jackson and Matt Crawford and Pat Sullivan, he had a plan to take these pieces of this team, this shattered team that only won 3 ball games last year, and pull them together. Now, don't misunderstand me. No one ever thought that we would be sitting here 11-1 and playing for the SEC championship. We were thinking more about a rebuilding, but it's obvious that Auburn football is back, and what Gus and his assistant coaches have done is nothing short of miraculous, pulling all this together. But it all starts with trust. And so, Carl, when you look at those type things and the qualities that this man has, in any business you're in, if you have somebody that's relentless and smarter and outworks other people, you have a chance to be successful. That's what we have with Gus. And more importantly, to the Auburn family, anything else is his values.
Jay Jacobs, our guest here on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. I had a chance to work not for, but with Jay at the University of Houston, and he did a great job there before moving on to Auburn. I think you've done a terrific job with the Auburn Tigers in your hiring and the way that you've gone about handling your programs. Jay, do you think there's a such thing as a good loss? The reason why I bring this up is because people will look at Missouri this year and they'll say, well, going into this SEC championship game, they lost a double overtime game to South Carolina that, if their field goal kicker makes it, And then they'll look at Auburn's loss to LSU early in the year, where LSU didn't lose a game in Baton Rouge this year. They didn't lose a home game in the SEC. So is there such a thing as a good loss in your opinion?
I think there can be. The thing about it is that sometimes a loss like that helps propel you to win more games. For Auburn, the deciding factor for us, a pivotal moment for us, was the second half of the LSU game. We started out 21-0, and we get inside the 5-yard line with a chance to cut it to 7 in the second half. And so looking back at last year and looking at this year, these guys never quit. So for Auburn to go on the road after only winning 3 ball games last year, none on the road last year, and compete at the highest level with then an LSU team who was undefeated in that environment, as you mentioned, never lost a home game this year, that was a pivotal moment for us. So for us, that was a good loss. And so I don't know. I can't speak to Missouri, but sometimes a loss actually gives you more resilience and you're more relentless. And I believe these guys learned a lot from that, and we've gotten better every week since then. We're a much better team that played this past Saturday than we were when we played LSU.
After such a great play in the last play of the game, after a short field goal being made, has the city calmed down yet, Jay?
No, we hadn't calmed down, Kordell. Hey, when did you guys calm down after 1994? After your bomb?
We still talking about it on the radio station. It's gone up in yardage every time we talk about it.
Exactly. That was a fun play to watch back then, and that was a bomb. And for something like this, the thing that impressed me about it, first of all, nobody's calmed down yet. It was a historical game, historical moment, and it meant more than anything it ever meant before. Playoff and the SEC championship game, a possible chance for Pasadena, and so on. But the thing that interests me the most about it was going back to what we were talking about Gus, is they called a timeout, and Ellis Johnson called down to Gus and said, "Hey, this thing may be short. Why don't we put Chris back there as our punt return and let's set up a return?" And they did it and had the presence of mind to do that. And, that 1 second, we flip ends of the field with it, 109 yards, and all of a sudden we have a big family reunion on the field.
Yeah. It was electric, Jay. I can only imagine what it was like to be there, and fans who weren't there will say they were for years to come. Let me leave you with this. This is what I'm fearful of when it comes to Auburn this Saturday. If I'm looking at this game as a prognosticator and saying, all right, this is why Missouri will win, this is why Auburn will win. Mm-hmm. What is Auburn's frame of mind, their emotional state, coming off of a win like that?
It'll be challenging, to say the least. We had an extra week coming off Georgia. After that, with 26 seconds left, the bump pass, but we had a week, and Georgia is the South's longest rivalry. But beating your in-state rival like that, it's going to be challenging. But these coaches and Gus started on Sunday. They've had great practices. But also it gives you a little extra bounce in your step when you go out there to practice as well. But I think they'll all calm down, but it'll be challenging. But what's even more challenging is this Missouri team that we're facing. They will be man per man better than any team we played all year, and nobody's paid a lot of attention to them until lately. But they're a really, really good football team. They've got receivers that are all over 6'3". They got an unbelievable special quarterback. They've got 3 running backs that can play the game, and they've got some hard-nosed guys on defense that can run. So it'll be our toughest challenge all year, and we'll have to be hitting on all cylinders to have a chance to play with these guys.
Jay, good luck. We'll see you Saturday. Jay Jacobs, the AD at Auburn. War Eagle, Jay.
War Eagle. God bless. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Jay.
Appreciate the time.
Yes,
good
sir.
stuff there with the AD.
Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.